What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the 5th episode in my series called Becoming a Homeowner, and today we are going to be talking about the home inspection, the appraisal, homeowners insurance, and utilities. If you have not been following along with my series, I will leave a link to the full series down in the description box, and I'll also include it above so that way you have a second to catch up. So we got pre-approved, we found our realtor, we started house hunting, we finally found our house, and now it is time to continue the steps from A to Z to officially make this house our home. So we got a recommendation from our realtor for a home inspector because we personally did not know of anybody in the area to do it for us. So we went with her recommendation. She gave us all the contact information. We reached out to them, we set up a time and date to meet to have our home inspected. So we did our home inspection about 2 weeks after our offer got accepted on the home, and we met with the home inspector at the house. They highly recommended that we were both present for the home inspection, and after doing so, I definitely understood why we were supposed to be there. So we had to schedule it for a day and time that we were both able to be there and be off of work, and this cost us almost $500. So we meet with the inspector. He comes up to us, introduces himself, goes over everything that is about to happen, and the whole inspection process took about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to complete. It's really important that you are there personally because this is your purchase, this is going to be your property, and you want to know exactly what is there behind all the pretty stuff. You want to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So what is the real condition of the house as a whole? Are you getting yourself into a money pit? Now granted, no house is going to be perfect, but if you start to see some giant red flags, that is something that you really have to take into consideration and ask yourself if it's worth it to continue on with the purchase, or is it better to just walk away? The home inspector, I will tell you, checks everything, which honestly is a really good thing. What they do is they check your heating system, they check your air conditioning system, they check your plumbing, they check your electrical systems, your structural components, the roof, the condition of the roof, your attic, the foundation, the basement, the walls, the ceilings, the windows, the doors. Literally everything, you name it, they are going to check it. And they're just going to make sure that everything is functioning properly, everything is safe, everything is passing code. And he gave us so much information and so many helpful tips on things that we might be able to tweak and change to make even better, or things that we really need to watch out for. Like if the age of our roof was getting older, we would have to make sure that we're prepared to replace it in a couple of years. Or let's say our water heater was really old, and that is something that we would have to make sure that we are always prepared for, to break at any moment, so that way we had the funds to replace it. I came in with a lot of questions written down that I wanted to ask because I didn't want to miss anything. This is my first time doing it, and I want to make sure that I'm not walking into this blindly either. So he was very patient, he answered all of our questions, and everything that we talked about I added into my notes on my phone so that I was able to go back and reference everything in the future. So on top of inspecting the inside and the outside of the home, they also can check the radon, they can check for termites, asbestos, any mold, and depending on the age of your home, any lead piping or lead paint. So once the whole inspection was complete, our realtor stopped in, we talked to her, we told her our thoughts, and we decided to write up a couple of things that we wanted to be fixed and have changed before we completed on the closing of the home. Doing this does not guarantee you that the seller is actually going to do what you ask. They could very easily say, no, you can have the house as is, period. Or if you want to pay for these expenses, you can pay for it, or they'll pay for it. Luckily, we got really lucky and they're willing to fix all the little things that we wanted. Nothing was really major. It was all simple things at their expense, and it wasn't really a big issue. So then the appraisal. The appraisal I think was $750, and I believe that happened a couple days after we did the homeowners inspection. We weren't there for it, so I honestly don't really know what exactly happened, but once we got the appraisal back, it gave us a ton of information, including exactly how much the house is worth if we were to rebuild the exact same house from the ground up. They include photos of the house inside and outside, a lot of the structural components. They have land records, They have public tax information, they have sales data, a sketch of the exterior, a complete explanation of the square footage, photos and information about comparable properties that they use to estimate the appraisal of your house. And what the appraiser does is, this opinion is an unbiased professional opinion. And what they want to determine is the home contract price appropriate considering the home's condition, the location, the features, etc. The lender just basically wants to make sure that we're not over borrowing for the home. If your home is only worth, let's say, $200,000 and you're borrowing $250,000, that's not going to make any sense to whoever's trying to lend you that mortgage. The appraisal helps the bank to protect itself against more than it might be able to recover in a worst case scenario. So worst case scenario, your home's worth $200,000, you borrow $250,000, you end up not paying your mortgage. Now the bank is stuck with a $250,000 mortgage, but your home is only worth $200,000. Now if the appraisal comes in at or above the contract price, the process will proceed as planned. However, if the appraisal comes back below the contract price, that can delay or even completely derail the entire process. When you're looking at the big picture, chances are neither you nor the seller wants the transaction to not fall through. You're already into it, you already have this in your mind, money's already being spent. You don't want anything to mess this up. Now, as a buyer, you have a little bit of an advantage because say the appraisal comes back lower, you can use that as a tool. You can use that as your advantage to try to convince the seller to lower the selling price. Just keep in mind that the bank won't lend you, or any other prospective buyers who may be looking at the home, they're not going to lend you more money than the home is actually worth. Now granted, our appraisal came back higher than what we paid for the house, but it wasn't such a large difference that we were overpaying for the house or that the buyers were being gypped on their end of the deal. In fact, a maximum of 80 to 97% of the value is typical depending on the type of mortgage and the borrower's qualifications. So once we had that all done, we also had to make sure we had our homeowner's insurance set in place, because legally you have to have homeowner's insurance if you're going to be a homeowner. Where I live, it's just like having a car. You can't have a car and not have car insurance. That's illegal. So I did a ton of research on where we wanted to get our homeowner's insurance through, and after getting quotes from probably 7 different places, we finally decided on a company. So we had to go meet with them. We ended up bundling homeowners and auto insurance, which saves you a ton of money, FYI. And they worked very closely with our mortgage lender to get everything set up so that way the day we closed, our insurance would kick into place and everything would go smoothly. Once that was done, we were ready to worry about the utilities. Utilities were something that we did last because we wanted to make sure that we were really set to close and everything was going to fall into place before we started trying to put other utilities for different properties into our name. So what we did is we made a list of all the utilities that we would have for the home and all the contact information to reach out to them to get the utilities transferred into our name. And what we did was, it was a transfer service, so it's not like the sellers ended the service and then we had to restart the service. It basically just rolled over the next day that we started the service from going into their name to ours. So we didn't have to pay any reconnected fees or any initial fees like that. For gas, electric, and trash, it was super simple. It was a simple phone call, switching them into our names, telling them the day that we were closing, and making sure that we were all set to go. The water and the sewer were not actually switched until the day that we actually closed and we were signing our documents. That was all done when we were with our lawyers. So that was our home inspection process, our home appraisal process, getting homeowners insurance, getting the utilities switched. Now we are so close to getting our house. I literally could taste it. The next step was closing day, getting the keys to our house, and finally being able to move in. And that is exactly what I'm going to be covering in the next episode for this series. I hope that this was helpful and really informative. If you have any personal tips or any information that you want to include down below, please feel free to do so. If you did enjoy this video, please let me know by hitting the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. And as always, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.